Well, hopefully a very quick video, because I was not going to make this video at all. I had no intention of making a video today, although I've been doing that sort of VEDFE video for a day, every day, forever type of thing. I never intended to do one forever. It was just to do the week and then see how things go. And I was going to leave today, but I've just watched, watched John Reagan's latest Good YouTuber, Bad YouTuber video earlier on, and we've been sort of exchanging a few comments about a couple of ideas, but I've just been reading the sort of comment thread that he's been having with Steve, 21st Century Cat, and John left an amazing comment at the bottom. It's just something that really just sort of struck home to me about how people do different things. And the comment that he put there, this little line, he just put, "Elvis never read poetry." And I thought, hey, it just sort of really appealed to me. And I thought, that's brilliant. Why is it brilliant? I don't know why it's brilliant. It just appeals to me, that sort of line. Elvis never read poetry. But as per usual with all these things, it got me thinking that if he had have read poetry, and I have no idea whether he did, I presume he didn't. If John says so, I'm quite happy to believe that. But if Elvis never did read poetry, imagine what the world might have been like if he had have done. We can also, I'll admit straight away, I've never been the world's biggest Elvis fan. I love the early stuff. I love the real sort of raw rock and roll stuff and the real hip shaking stuff and all that sort of thing. But when he got into the Las Vegas sort of stuff and the big sequin suits and the multiple, deep fried peanut butter sandwiches type of thing, I lost it really. There were certain tracks in there which I still think were brilliant. And I like the idea of Elvis, the sort of the white guy coming through and sort of not stealing black music, but sort of bringing it to the masses. Yes, I know he might have been ridiculed at the time, possibly because he was singing the blues or whatever. He was singing sort of a black person's music, I suppose. But he brought it to the masses. Without Elvis, you wouldn't have had the Beatles. Without Beatles, you know the rest. You know the history of that sort of thing. So I have him to thank for that. But I just wonder, if he had read poetry, imagine what the world might have been like. If he'd have done that, maybe his dancing, his hip gyrating might have been a bit more poetic. Maybe he would have lived life differently. Maybe he wouldn't have gone down the road of eating multiple hamburgers and shooting TVs and sort of eating deep fried peanut butter sandwiches and all this sort of thing. He might have had a different outlook on life. He might still be here. So this sort of raises the question of any other historical figures or whatever, your own life. If you just, one of those sort of things that I quite often think of, there's a George Michael song which called Different Corner. Once again, not an enormous George Michael fan, but I do like some of his early stuff when he was became a solo career. And so he did this song called Different Corner, and the line in there which has always struck me is that, "Turn the different corner and we never would have met." And that's just one of those sort of things, isn't it? You think about all those sort of coincidences in your life, all those things in your life, which if you'd just done one thing slightly differently, your world would be completely different. I can think of one straight away when I met my wife. Now, I met my wife, I may well have told this story before, but I met my wife in a pub, which is a great classic place for meeting a woman, I suppose, in a bar, in a pub, whichever you want to call it. She just happened to be there with a friend, and she hadn't turned up with her friend. She wasn't going to go out that night. Her friend persuaded her to go out that night. I happened to know her friend. We got talking, and the rest, as I say, is history. So think about that, try and think of things that might have happened to you. So big things. I mean, life is made up of millions and millions of little decisions that we tend to make. And there's a sort of theory about all these parallel universes that if we had to turn a different corner, maybe our life exists in a parallel universe somewhere. And that can really get the mind boggling, can really get the mind thinking and the mind hurting maybe as well. So have a think about them, some of the really big things that might have happened to you in your life. And you think that if it hadn't been for that, if I hadn't have gone out that night, when I was going to sit at home in front of the TV, well, I got the call from my friend, and I thought, yeah, I will go out. I don't really want to, but and you might have had a great evening. It might have changed your life completely. So have a think on that. Maybe you want to get back to me. I'd love to know if anybody else. As I said, there's my classic example, which I've literally just thought of. There are probably loads and loads of more that I can think of, but that's the one big one. So I'm sure we've all got one big sort of coincidence, different corner that we turned in our lives that has changed our lives possibly forever, whether it be for good or whether it be for bad. It's not always good life, as we always know. So if Elvis had read poetry, who knows where we might be now. He might be sort of doing poetry readings instead of dying in unfortunate circumstances way back there in 1977. So there you go, John. Literally just read that comment, thought, right, I'm going to turn on the camera and see what comes out. So Elvis never read poetry, but what the world would have been like if he had done. Thanks for your time. I'll speak to you again soon. Goodbye.